Thokozani, Thokozani, Thokozani. I don't see any familiar. Lerato Thokoza. I start seeing familiar faces. Thokozani, 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 Ninjani. Oh, Thokozani family, how are you? Please say hi. Tap, 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 tap. Let's see if we can raise this and that. Nonhlanhla unjani Ndlovukazi? Yo, Ndlovukazi niyadingeka. Ushubile. It's rough out there. Can you guys tap the screen? Tap, 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 tap. So this goes up in the algorithm. I didn't make an announcement because I didn't think I'd be coming live, but then it's urgent. Thokozani, Hotep Royals, Hotep Hetepu Royals, Basekemu Ninjani. Please, please, please tap, 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 guys. Let's get some people here. This is really urgent. Oh, yeah, it's been quite a day, and I haven't known how to approach this, but then I think the only way is to approach it head on. Thokozani, Thokozani Ndlovukazi, and Ndlovukazi Ninjani. Thokozani, guys, let's tap, 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 tap. I don't even mind if we get to we're at 18. If we get to 25 people, I'm starting. So, Sambeni, share it out if you know that South Africa does not sleep. South Africa, you don't sleep. So if you know that there's someone you know who's awake, share this out, share this out. This is very important. Please share it out. I will save this and I will post it on YouTube because, wow. How's everybody doing? How is everybody in the Southern Hemisphere doing? I'll be joining you soon. I will be home very soon. But again, my iPods are about to run out of juice, so let me switch. Thokozani, take these things out. Yes. Oh, we're up at 40. That's more than I expected. Maskhulumeni Ndlovukazi. Oh, I'm distressed today more than usual. And it's really important that we have this conversation because, and the reason I called you guys in Ndlovukazi, although it's always a tough situation with the topic I want to talk about. And some of you may already know what it is I might talk about. It's currently trending. It's in the news right now. So let me just get to it. So woke up this morning to another SEX video leaked. I'm not going to mention names because I respect the privacy. Well, there's no privacy now. There's nothing to respect. People's things are out there. But I wanted to talk to Ndlovukazi because really there's a problem. And those of you who have young children, those of you who have young women in your communities, I am going to need you guys to really do right. The problem is the people whose SEX videos are being leaked are grown women. So then it makes it very difficult to talk to younger women. I always say this, they will never listen to us unless we get our act right. So please, 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 let's talk about this. So woke up this morning, went on Twitter. Of course, this stuff always takes off on Twitter because Twitter has very, very lenient rules about what it is you can post in terms of inappropriate, appropriate content. So on Twitter is literally where on any given day while you're minding your own business and scrolling, you will find people's private parts all on display. Now, personally, I find it offensive because I feel violated. But it's allowed, it's happening. So you start to wonder what happens if you have your children on social media. It's very difficult to limit what social media platforms they go to. And so this stuff is available. Like it's just there. It's not like you have to get a fans, what do they call it? Only fans only. And it's hidden in there and you have to pay. No, it's right there. It's all right there. So this morning woke up to some huge scandal. Of course, it's always huge because, wow, you know, as a woman, when people then see inkomo yakho, it's a big deal, right? So what is it that I'm calling in Ndlovukazi for to talk about? I think there's several layers to this. And I don't even want to talk about the men that do this because quite frankly, they will be dealt with. We are in this age now where they're not going to be getting away with stuff like that. They will be dealt with. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. In this age of the divine feminine, we're going to see a lot of DE. How do you spell that word? We're going to see a lot of men unalived. Okay? It's coming. It's already here. Some are already on their way out. But what I did want to do is I wanted to talk to Ndlovukazi. When we say things like sleep with one eye open, when we say things like do not trust these people, the other gender, a lot of you get upset, especially those of you who are sitting comfortably in a relationship. Bear in mind that you really see the ugliness of someone once that relationship starts to go south. And I think there are a lot of women who want to sit naively in this, my husband this, my husband that, or my partner would never, until your partner does. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because when we say sleep with one eye open, it means this. If you have a partner who says to you, make me a tape, can I video us in the act? That is a really red flag. Now I know it's very tempting, especially women, you think with your emotions, and this is where the problem is. You think with your emotions. When we love, we get stupid. And that's just facts. I am not excused. I'm not immune from this. That's why I'm like, this is a conversation about us, our makeup, and who we are. And how in this time that we're in, where things are going to get worse before they get better, they're going to get worse. How do you protect yourself? You use your brain. No matter how good he lays down that pipe, if somebody says to you, I want to film us, jump. Your answer should be an unequivocal no. See, a lot of the times we are in with people, we don't know the depths of the evil that runs in their hearts. Why? Because when it's good, it's delicious. When it's good, all you see is the flowers. You see the love. You see the spoiling until it gets ugly. Why would somebody you're with want a tape of you guys in the act? He's with you, Moss. Right? You're in a relationship. What does he want a tape for? See, this is what we're now seeing is when it gets bad and it gets ugly and there's a breakup and the breakup is toxic, it's always the male partner who's holding that tape. Most times, you don't even have a copy because he used his phone. Then now he's going to take clips of it. The one I saw today had 1 of 35. So we were just seeing part 1. And then he will onto the internet. And in certain parts in the world, I know in the US, if you do that, that's why people very rarely do that kind of thing. Because if you get caught, you go into jail. right? They call it revenge porn. In other parts of the world, the rules are relaxed. The law can be bought, a brown envelope here, a little slip under the the desk calendar, and case disappears. Even if you can take someone to court and win the case, fact remains that your stuff is out there. The internet doesn't die. I can tell you the way people on there, someone just needs to write, I saw what I saw today. And then they put her name. And people are like, video, please, video. So there are people who saved these things already onto their phones. What made me press live tonight is because I was just trying to post content on Twitter. And guess what? They now have created a gallery of all the women so far in South Africa whose sex tapes have been leaked. They've now created a gallery. And in some of the pictures, they've got the private parts next to the person. Ndlovukazi, the derogatory comments I'm reading about your sacred space, the thing that makes you goddess, like I, for a moment, thought I was going to vomit. Yazi amadoda bakhohlakele ngesinye, like I at this point, like I'm at this point where I'm like, you know what? I'm terrified of that other gender. I've never seen a group so brutal, so mean, so cruel when they come together. They're literally a mob of savages. You want to see vicious? You go to Twitter and you see what they are saying about these women's private parts. And the blame is on the woman. They're not even mentioning the guys who are doing this. They're not even, this is what I've always said to you. Men do not reprimand one another. Men are the best at sticking up for one another, even at times where they do horrible things. Men will stand up for one another. We, on the other hand, because over there I'm seeing women who are castigating the women and saying, "Balayegile, good for them. What were they thinking?" And it's like, as if you are not a woman. You see, that act is degrading to all of us. This is what they don't understand. What is happening over there with those young girls is happening to all of us. The kind of, I can't describe how I feel, Ndlovukazi. And then I say to myself, these young women have mothers, they have fathers, they have family members, they have children. And I'm like, how can one human being be so cruel to another? How can you be so cruel to another that you do not care? You don't care what happens after you put out something that was done during an intimate moment. She's at her most vulnerable. I don't know if somebody would like to come on. Let's have a discussion. I don't want to rant by myself. Please request anyone who wants to come and talk about this, because I need, that's why I said I need Ndlovukazi here, because I think I need a little bit of therapy, and I think we can maybe heal each other through this. I was like, I'm shook that somebody's here. This is cheapo. I'm actually looking for Ndlovukazi. Please, we really have to talk about this. Oh.
Emakhosini.
Emakosini. Chipo, you get special favors because you're your mother's child. Guys, this is my son, so he can come on, although really this was for women because I know who he is. So, Chipo?
Because now I just joined now because I was not on TikTok. I was just on WhatsApp, but I'm not aware of the topic that's happening right now. So if I'm aware of the topic, then I can add on.
Okay, so why don't you sit this one out? I really need the voices of women for this, and
No problem.
I'll put you up to speed as we talk, ne? And then you
No
can come
problem.
on once you hear what's really going on, ne?
No problem. Okay,
Okay,
no
my love.
problem. That's fine.
Okay, Thanda-san. Please, can somebody, Ndlovukazi, I need a woman to come up here, please. Somebody, uh, Wild Warrior Priestess, what language are you speaking? Several languages are going at the same time. So you probably heard some Zulu, you probably heard a little bit, sometimes I go into Sesotho, but mainly Zulu, Southern Africa. Please, I need Ndlovukazi here. We need to deal with this. We need to deal with this because we need to come up with a strategy as to how do we protect ourselves. And I mean, I can lecture you guys on how we can protect ourselves, but I think at this point, I really want us to have a dialogue. Togoza,
Tokoza, Gogo.
Togoza, Ubuntu Roots. How are you, Ndlovukazi?
No, I'm shocked at what you're sharing, the information. It's shocking also at the same time, it's not surprising. So both are happening at the same time.
What is your take? I mean, have you seen what I'm talking about, or have you had experiences or
So
seen stuff like this before?
yeah, my experience is, men will always say, send a picture, right? That's what they like. Send a picture. So obviously, wisdom will say, wisdom will say no. What are you talking about? First of all, it's like, what do you mean when you say send a picture? Obviously, they just want parts. They want to see parts, right? That's always the end goal, is to see the parts. So no, you can't see my bits. That's not even in the question. And how dare you do that, right? It even goes to a point where I love to wear yoga pants,
Right.
and I've gotten comments where it's like, you wear those yoga pants just to make us feel away. You're wanting to attract us. I'm like, I didn't leave the house with anyone in mind except myself. And I know I look good in yoga pants, and that's why I wear them. I wear them for me, to make me feel good. Right? So even so, they project their feelings onto us. So it's definitely a thing where us women, us Ndlovukazis, we need to protect each other and just say, like, don't send pictures at all, at any cost. I don't care whether this is someone who's put a ring on your finger. Do not send
Thank you.
pictures. Do not send pictures. Do not consent to videos either. It's, outwardly consenting. Do not do that, because you just don't know what's going to happen down the line,
Yeah.
as when things get bad. And usually, ah yeah. So, and I don't like to blame us women, because usually men will have this mindset already going for them, where they can already see that they're not going to marry you, they're not taking you serious, so they just want to, it's extractive. What can I extract from you?
Right.
And should you reject me, what do I have against you that I can throw out there, you know
Yeah.
and that is just absolutely terrible, right? Because, oh, sorry,
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Ndlovukazi.
because,
I'm digesting this whole thing. It really shook me today.
yes, because I think, for me, my personal mornings is that we were groomed to be wives, right? Like, well, wash dishes. How are you gonna wash dishes in your husband's house? So it was ingrained in our psyches. We're gonna grow up and be wives one day. We must. So so inadvertently, most of us shrunk ourselves, right? Shrinking ourselves, not making ourselves big enough. What? All of that stuff. So now I'm at this age, and I'm like, yo, there's no need to shrink self. There's no need to do this submission thing, because, experience has shown me that there's no respect that comes from that end.
That's it.
There's no
Exactly.
respect. There's no respect. There's no dignity. There's no even this appreciation thing that's going around. If you appreciate him, there's nothing. We give all these good things we've been told and groomed to give, but we're met with trash given back to us, right? And so it's like, now it's time to just, like, protect the bits, right?
Yeah.
Protect the diamond, protect the,
Yes.
yeah, protect.
That's it.
Woo! Yeah, I'll land there for now.
Thank you. Thank you. If I can just say something before I bring you on, Wild Warrior Woman, it's this. You see, the reason am probably as shaken as I am is from that spiritual perspective of understanding who we are, of understanding that we are creator, of understanding that that space is a portal, and it is a portal that bridges the spiritual realm and the physical realm. It is a sacred portal. This is why you have this space with that sort of oval shape. You have it in churches. You have it in you even have it in their cult houses where they have their lodges. They have this because of the power of that portal. And so my thing and what I've been trying to do with my work is to get in Lovugazi to understand who they are and to know that it is not everybody. In fact, it is very, very few, if not just one, who is given the privilege of that portal. And because we didn't grow up with this knowledge of who we are, we need to get up to speed quickly, because this is the very space they are desecrating with purpose and with intention. Many of them who are desecrating this space aren't even aware that they're being used to desecrate it. But once again, this is the rise of the divine feminine. So we have energies, we have spirits, we have negative entities that will do whatever it takes to keep Indlovukazi down. We are the most feared creature on the planet right now. So don't be shocked when all this desecration is happening. So I keep saying, Lovukazi, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And this is the time to hunker down and to protect yourself. Do not be fooled into thinking that this person who you adore and who seems to adore you can never do such a thing to you. If you're sitting there with your phone full of nudes and videos and stuff, delete that stuff. I'm begging you, because you don't know how bad it gets until it gets bad. None of these women would have ever thought that the person they were sharing intimate moments with was one day going to just take it and put it out there during the people. None of them.
Yes.
And don't ever think that for any reason you are more special than the next woman, the woman to whom it has happened. You can sit there right now and want to act all self-righteous and want to say, oh, hey, me, them, hey, what they do. Wait till you meet the one who's going to coerce you, persuade you, who's going to love bomb you into doing that, and then you do it. Like, guys, if any of you have men out there who have your stuff, now is the time to demand. You can demand that it be deleted, because it will only end up in one place. The day you fight, the day you say, you see, once you do that, you're stuck, because the day you say, I want to leave, you just flash these things at you. This is what happened to this particular young woman. She left this guy after he had trashed her publicly with woman after woman after woman, flaunting his infidelity. She finally gathered up enough self-love to leave. And then the guy says, send me all the things I've ever bought for you. Now, in 3 days, I want them. So this girl came out with receipts and said, no, I'm not going to do that. You're trying to control me now because you realize that I'm finally free of you after all these years. Mind you, they have a child together. So what does dude do? He says, it's written, with screenshots shown where he wrote, if you don't bring my stuff back, I'm going to put that tape out there. She must have thought he was bluffing, because I think it's a week or 2 weeks later, the tape is out. And he labeled it one of 35, meaning he has 35. Guys, maybe, where do you all get the courage to, where do you all get the courage to just kind of, to allow that kind of thing to happen? I know that we do. We are like I said, we get stupid when we're in love, because we will walk on hot coals for somebody. who we love. But the question is, does this person love you back with the same intensity? Would this person walk on coals for you? And if he's asking for a tape, he won't. Trust me. That thing is leverage. Like Ndlovukazi said, it's going to be filed somewhere for a day when it comes in handy. Ne? So, warrior, please unmute yourself. Say your thoughts. Yo, this one is just too much for me. Hi, wild warrior woman. Hi there. You can unmute and share your thoughts on this.
Hi, were you talking to me?
Yes, yes. Hi
Sorry,
there.
I just had a
Welcome.
phone call. Okay. Hi, beautiful.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, so my hot take is when you said like what causes like us women to like send pictures knowing like of course us women because I'm almost 40 is going to be like wow, I highly don't recommend that. Because we know about the revenge porn. It is not illegal in all of the 52 states. It's only illegal in 46 states.
Oh,
So, so if a guy does do that, you can take him to jail, according to your state and regulation stuff like that.
right.
So in my I just know it always goes back to the childhood traumas about like almost like daddy issues when a woman needs to feel that validation because the guy that when you share that intimate moment, he makes you feel very special, and he's like, please just send that one photo, and you're like, okay, knowing you don't feel good in your chest and in your stomach, it's saying don't do it. And then when it gets to be toxic or bad, you break up. And he's like, well, you're just a little SLUT. And then post it on Facebook. And you're like, oh my God. I mean, then you would have to go to court. You got to wait for a date. It's so, I can understand you, like the chills. And you're just like shaking because you're just like, it is on a spiritual level. It is like a spiritual violation.
It's
And
a
then,
desecration of the temple,
yes.
basically.
And so like because of course when I was a teen I was calling out misogyny and things like that, and many women didn't. They're just like teehee, I'm so special, and you're just like, oh girl.
Huh, none of us is special, not to those creeps. None of
Re-
us is special. Like,
Remember, those insecure girls believe that they have the golden pea and they get to take it and wave it around and be like, I got the golden pea. So whatever, you know what I mean? But anyways, men are still not being held accountable for a lot of injustices. That's why there's the 4B movement. And guys are like, I don't understand what's going on. You know what I mean? And I'm like, sir, have several seats. Look and observe, please.
the thing about it, you know what, is so funny how they'll be like, we're going to start our own movement. And it's
Like,
like,
who
you know what?
cares?
The thing is, we don't care. You don't realize this movement was created for us, by us. It's got nothing to do with you. We don't care. Actually, why don't you all go and jump off a cliff like a bunch of lemmings? Just follow each other. One, two, three, and just, you know what? We're tired and we would like some peace. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this. Let me see. There's somebody else who's here
I
because
just wanted to say one last thing with the spiritual aspect is that women are not also like some women. I can't say all, but some of us spiritual girls know that when we allow video footage and photos, they're using that energy siphoning. They're also putting like magic on us through that. You know what I mean? There's another spiritual, like when they say body count matters, I'm going to just say that too. Like it is a spiritual hygiene thing with both men and women that need, and the thing is, we need to be educated inside the house. We need to have this in high school with videos of, like you said, like the deprecation of, you know what I mean? Putting yourself in that situation and what could happen.
yeah, I think we need to talk about it. I'm just that radical to say what will happen, because again, what is the purpose of you asking me for pictures if we're seeing each other? I'm not talking here of people, like if you're giving pictures and videos to people you've just met online and you haven't met in person, there's something wrong with you. But
Yes.
if you are in a relationship, listen, we're talking husband wife situation, divorce comes and dude puts out stuff from the intimacies in your marriage.
I think
This
where
call,
that's the revenge corn came from is long-term relationship, and this kept happening. It's just like, it's on the internet forever, and I feel like men are not still being held accountable, because the justice system, especially with a lot of men, I can't say all, is like, where is the justice system?
Yeah, it's kind of skewed towards men because remember, they created all these systems. Remember,
Exactly.
these systems were never really created. We had to fight as women our way into the systems, right? But really, these systems were created for them, to support them, to buttress their
Mhm.
power. And it's usurped power because really, when you think about it, they don't have power except brute force. So we are existing and functioning in systems that were never created for us, and therefore we are always on the back end.
Did
We're
you see
always on the
Kendra's
back foot.
comment? Oh my God.
Whose comment, Kendra?
Kendra, she's like, my niece is experiencing the revenge porn from her ex. He sent pictures and videos to everyone, including minor family members. Look at that. What is wrong with you, man? Oh my God.
Kendra, I'm so
And,
sorry.
and men are saying, but we're not emotional. Like, sir, what are you doing? How is this okay? Where are the repercussions? Where are the consequences?
The thing is, they do it because there are no consequences.
And
They
because
just
you're
want,
emotional.
yeah, but they also want to inflict the worst kind of pain possible on someone. You know, when it comes to women, I know I'm from Africa and I can speak for the African women here with for
Mm-hmm.
sure, for sure. There is a certain dignity around sexual matters. Although people
Yes.
aren't necessarily living that now, I always like to harken back to pre-colonial days and the role of the woman, the role of that what we call indlovukazi. And that was like it was understood very much then who the spiritual head of a family was. And this whole idea there's a head of a family and women submit and all that, that wasn't there. That came with Christianity. And so we have remnants of that. Therefore, when these kind of things happen, the shame, like literally you could dig a hole in the ground and just bury yourself. And so my worry is there are a lot of young women who've unalived themselves because of this, because it's like, how do I face my parents, how do I face my community, how do I face my friends at school, how do I just get up in the morning? And a lot of women have unalived themselves. So this thing is so serious, and that's why today when I saw that, I saw it in the morning, and now this evening I'm seeing that they've created a gallery on Twitter of all the women for the last 6 7 months. And the reason I've done this is because there is too much of it happening. There was a time where you hear, okay, there's one six tape and then a whole year. Now it's almost like every 2 weeks, somebody's humiliated. Every 2 weeks, somebody's degraded. Every 2 weeks. And here's the thing about these videos, especially the videos. The guys are so slick, they don't show their faces. The woman is all there, like everything, face, everything. The guy doesn't show his face. Even if they're set up on a tripod, you don't get to see his face. They don't care about showing their privates because they like bragging about their privates in the first place, right? Oh, mine is bigger than yours. Ha, 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 ha. That kind of thing. So they have never had any kind of let me respect myself about that. But as a woman, and I always say this from a spiritual perspective, why do you think this portal is closed like this, guys? Why do you think when you're standing, you don't see it? Nature did that because this is a sacred space. It's not all out there when you're walking, right? Even when you take it's closed. There's a reason. Now imagine that you share intimacy with someone and you think what's going on is between this person and me, only to wake up and find that actually that sacred space is now like this to the entire world. Right, guys? Ooh. Chipo, come on, son. Let's hear you. Yo, I can't. Tonight is just hard.
Emakosini Mtondala.
Emakosini, mtanam,
You
emakosini.
know, there's one thing I wanted to say because with me, one person, you understand me when it comes to Indlovukazi, but I'm going to hold them accountable on a different level today, which is something I don't usually do. Only Mkhulute Mbekele will know when I speak like this. The reason I'm going to say this today is because I have taken time to observe and to listen. Mostly when it comes to Indlovukazi, I take time to observe and to look and to listen. But one thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to address this. Indlovukazi don't support each other the way they're supposed to do. And this is where the problem starts. I'm going to say it in this way because most of them only support each other when it comes to things that don't build them up. But when things that need to build them up, this is where they need to support each other. Because with this situation, even for me, when I observe it, the type of person I am, when I looked at it, it's wrong for any person in any way. It's no. The reason I'm saying this is because when it comes to nature, one thing I love that you say that the woman is the head of the house when it comes spiritually. I've always said to myself in understanding that even if you're going to attend to your calling, it'll always be Abagogo that attends to you first. It is something that I've understood that within the masculine and the feminine, that it always be the feminine that approaches you first. And there's no competition in that. For
Right.
those that understand it, that when the feminine approaches you first, so meaning that for myself, when I look at it and I see sometimes what really pains me is that when it comes to Indlovukazi, they they don't support each other. I think mostly sometimes they support each other on things that's going to break them down. Meaning that when things that they need to actually support each other, when it comes to some, especially when it's things like this is the moment they need to actually say, you know what, enough is enough. We need to actually say, let this person be held accountable. Let any person that has that be held accountable. Because why? This is not something new. This is not something new because there are men that have done this and they have not been held accountable. For me as a person, I understand if you're going to attend to Indlovukazi, you need to attend with care. You know, I always look at it as myself as a divine masculine of you attend in a sort of a fragile state of knowing that you need to attend with care. But with certain people, they don't understand that when you attend with care, they just do whatever they need to do. And with Indlovukazi, they need to understand that when they like a man, sometimes they don't think. Once they've liked a man, they don't think.
Yeah, that's what I said, is that when we fall in love,
Mm-hmm.
like the brain just becomes a pile of mush. And
Yes.
just to add to what you're saying, before I lose my train of thought, I've often wanted to talk about this very clearly, which is this whole paradigm of romantic love, romance, Rome. Guys, that thing has nothing to do with Magwantu. That's why many of our relationships end up falling apart, because when that giddy feeling of being in love is gone, we think that means the relationship is over. Many of our young people aren't actually fully understanding what love looks like. They're not understanding what love looks like, because a lot of the time they are stuck in the material of transactional relationships where he gives me money, he buys me this, I get my nails done, I get my hair, but in exchange you're giving sex. In exchange, you are his arm piece. But what they don't realize is that phase fades, and that there are men who want to take you through just that phase, and then when they're tired of you, they'll drop you. So really everything to do with how Indlovukazi are entering the dating space, what and who they are meeting out there, and the criteria they are using to choose a partner is off. If your first thing when you meet someone is, how much money does he have? Does he drive a nice car? Or he came to the club where we were all and he covered the whole table with drinks, and he spent a whole bunch of money. I'll tell you something for nothing. None of these fuckers are doing anything for free. You best be ready that as you chow that money, you are getting ready to be chowed. I'm just going to lay it out like that. I've hung around different guys of different ages. And when you hear the entitlement that they have over women's bodies because they financed your outing, they finance your living expenses, they buy you the nice cars, they do this, that, and the next thing. The entitlement over your body is next to nothing. That is why they then turn ugly when you, based on the entitlement. Remember what happened with this one? This guy said, give me everything that I've ever bought you. Everything. Give me everything. Send it back within 3 days. Everything I've ever bought you. Do you see? It was a transactional thing. So she says, no, those were gifts and I've moved on. You're upset because I've moved on. You abused me. You mistreated me. You know, but I found myself again. And now I've moved on and you see that I'm okay. Suddenly, you want all your stuff back. So that's something to keep in mind in these transactional relationships young women are going into. And I don't blame them because our mothers or their mothers, which is us, haven't done any better. We have not modeled for young women that you can find a good man who makes a modest living and you guys can get together in an authentic way and build something. Instead, we encourage them to go around chasing ichelet. Not knowing that in this transaction, listen, these people don't give you nothing for nothing. If he's giving you all this, it's rights over your body, over your time. He gets to choose who you hang out with. He gets to choose when you get up, when you go to sleep. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now suddenly you want to raise your head. And then he's like, you're growing too big for your boots. I'm going to knock you down. He knew perfectly well she's not going to be able to give him everything he's bought her. My goodness. So he put that as the tag. So it's either you come back to me, you give me everything I've ever bought you, because I own you. That's implicit in the, give me everything I've ever bought you or come back. When she says no, he's like, okay, I'm going to fix you. I'm going to ruin you. Hey, this guy's in. Because she's in a new relationship. What do you think? Now, let's just be on a real. What do you think the new partner feels when he sees that? He wakes up and he's minding his own business on the socials, and there is his new woman's everything during the people. And the way their minds work, if they're just starting out, this guy's gonna be like, red flag with this woman. I can't. Remember, he too has family. He too has family. He too may have kids. He has siblings. He's going to want to dissociate himself from you and this hot mess fast. So that sucker who did this has won. Because now he's ruined your relationship. And then, guys, look now what they're doing. Some of these cases of the ones they're putting in the gallery are like 8 months old, a year old. They're reviving it again. So if these young women had healed, had decided, I'm moving on with my life, that's in my past, maybe there's a new relationship going, maybe there's even a prospect of a marriage going, boom, this stuff resurfaces. And the new man sees his woman on a gallery with her, what's your face? Next, yeah, guys, in the matter cruel, guys, men are cruel. Like, how do you sleep at night doing that to people's children? Like, what kind of, like, oh, you wake up and that's what you see in the socials. There's only one way to be safe from this. You sleep with one eye open. It's a different case if someone records you without you knowing. That is a real criminal offense. You have grounds to go to court. But if someone filmed you with your consent, yes, if they leak it, you can't help the one where you're recorded unknown, right? You didn't know. So much as it hurts, but there's at least that part of you that's like, you know what? That was my bad luck for meeting somebody like this. But now, if it's something that you agreed to do, or it's pictures you sent, do you see how you might feel like you really let yourself down? If you said yes, do you see how you might really, like, you might really feel like you let yourself down? And so a lot of the times what's happening, and this is where women are getting undone, is they will wallow in guilt and shame because there is that sense of, what have I done to myself? But the real perpetrator is the person who did that. Ntobokazi, we got to do better. We got to do better for one another. I don't know what we could do. I don't know whether we could start a WhatsApp group and fill up in there so that we're on the lookout for this. And the minute we see somebody do that, we go out there. Like Twitter is harsh, guys. Like Twitter is harsh. And there's nothing uglier for me, even on an energetic level, than a bunch of testosterone-laden men. It's like lions on a carcass. This is what they're like. The comments are disgusting. Yazi, ay man. And you can't even comment on those things because they will come after you. Like Twitter's, I don't bother with Twitter. Twitter is brutal. But one thing I would have liked to say is, y'all have daughters. If you have daughters, are you seeing what you're doing to your children? Because this pain you're causing, you didn't leak the tape, but you are complicit because you are sharing this thing, and you're not here reprimanding, you're not here telling this person where to get off who's posted this. Y'all should be on this guy's page. You should be in his DMs telling him that if we catch you on the street, you're as good as gone. But you're not doing that. Instead, you are tearing this woman down, her dignity that's already down, like you're dragging it through the mud. Thank you.
You know what, Gogo, there's something I wanted to add on as well.
Yes.
It's, with the whole situation, it's not just one thing. This I always say, because I observe from a place of, I don't involve myself in the situation. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm gonna hold Indovkazi accountable in this way. Stop trying to imagine yourself in someone else's relationship, and stop trying to see yourself with the type of men, because myself understanding, and the way I've grown now, understanding that when they talk of submissive, when they talk of men, it's a lie. It's something that I have to relearn. Even me asking for forgiveness in a relationship with anyone was something I never used to do.
Right.
But when you come to learn that all this, when they talk about relationship things, the way they do it is wrong.
Right.
And when you come to understand that, stop trying to envy other people's relationship, because what you see is not really truly what it is.
Right.
Don't envy other people's relationship, because I'm going to be as honest as I can be. What I've learned when it comes to relationship is you're going to learn that relationship comes as you're going to be independently yourself, and that person needs to be, you're going to respect each other. If there's no respect from the foundation, why do you pursue that person? Why is that person pursuing you? This is the problem, because most of them are looking at it and be saying, okay, excuse me to use this language, they'll be like, my man's. That is the problem, because you're not holding yourself accountable in a sense of understanding that when a man approaches you, especially me myself speaking as a man, I know when I like a woman, my first instinct is to protect her, is to make sure that I cover her. So
Right.
if you yourself, you're not being covered, you're worrying about what, there's the problem. Is
Exactly. But you see, here's our problem too, as in Lovugazi. The intensity with which we love someone is the intensity with which we naively think that someone is going to love us back. Therein lies the problem. So when women really love and love deeply, listen, I am a woman who's been in love. I will walk on water for you. You understand me? I will, listen, I will take my clothes and make a shade for you in a desert and have the sun beat the skin off my back and burn it off and cook me if I love you. The question remains, is your partner reciprocating? This is why there are women who've now said, you know what, at the end of the day, a man, let him love me more than I love him. Because that's another thing about in Lovugazi. When we are well taken care of, we can actually fall in love with someone who we didn't love before. But if this person is consistent, if this person is patient, if this person is generous, not with money, please, I don't deal with that financial nonsense. I'm talking if they're generous with their time, if they're generous with their heart, if they're generous with their listening ear. Lovugazi, many of us are so wounded, we just want a soft landing. Soft, not soft life. I said soft landing. Somewhere where you can breathe and feel safe and feel at peace. If someone can give you that, who on any given day is not your type, you will fall in love. That's how we are. So this giddy love of meeting someone and you're going like this over them, and this person, again, like Chipo says, men always know from the get-go what they want. That is why if a man wants you, he can say, after 2 dates, after 3 dates, after a week, marry me. After he would have dated somebody for 6 years and strung that person along, and he'll come to you and he'll say, marry me. Why? Because he knows what he wants from the get-go. So all this effort that women make to try to convince a man who has shown you that really you're not the one. And how do they show you're not the one? Other than this extreme, they show you that you're not the one by ill-treating you, by being negligent. You know when someone is not, and then you work hard as in Lovugazi. You're like, I can win him. You know, if I just love him more, if I just give myself to him more, if I just become more vulnerable, if I share my money with him, if I give him my car to drive, all the rubbish that won't make any difference. Mind you, he'll take those things, by the way. This is how sly and malicious they are. They'll take the things because you're giving it. And he won't feel an ounce of guilt for the fact that he can see very clearly that he's not on the same page with you. He can see very clearly that you're so far gone and he's not even left the starting line. He can see very clearly that you are talking the language of building. Women are nesters. You are talking the language of when we do this, when we get our first this, he can hear that language, and yet he knows very well that he's nowhere near that. But you've made it easy, right? So whatever you're giving, he's going to take, knowing full well that he's not going to reciprocate. This, I don't know. I see, I don't know, because my worries for these young women. And like, I think there was a warrior who was here. We've talked about this before, how they harness our energy, our sexual energy, to make money. It's a source of great power for spiritualists to be able to make money. So even when they say send a pic, those pictures of yours, they can harness your essence, your energy from pictures. Take it from someone who knows. Videos, even worse. So So on top of the cruel nature of this, there is the other cruel nature where they will exploit your sexual energy. You're busy thinking somebody's given you 200,000 Rand, and you're like, oh, he pays my rent. I've got 200,000 Rand. I can get nice Chanel, Gucci, Louis Vuitton posted on Instagram. Meanwhile, you don't know that the price you've paid for that 200 Rand is priceless. Because after he's done with you, because they always move on to the next once they've depleted you. After he's done with you, you're finished. Sometimes they harness your womb energy to the point that you can never get pregnant. You're finished. I have consulted women like that. Coco, I can't get pregnant. I'm like, well, we as Indlovukazi, we're not safe, is all I'm going to say. We're not safe from a spiritual perspective. We're not safe from a physical perspective. We're not safe from a financial perspective. We're not safe, period. I am very concerned about the young women we have who are going out there now, fresh, like just fresh-eyed, bushy-tailed, starting their lives out, going to college, getting ready to date. If you hear some of the horror stories of college students and the things that they find themselves in, unbelievable. We as mothers need to do better, and we start by making sure that we are approachable to our girl children to be able to talk to us about anything so that we can share this kind of knowledge, so that we can share this kind of information. You, mother, may be safe, but what about your children? What about your daughters? What about your nieces? We have a huge responsibility. That's why we need to get us right. We need to get ourselves right. And we need to start forming communities, intentional communities with purpose, and the purpose is protection above all else. If we don't do that, well, like I said, the prophecies keep coming. It's going to get worse before it gets better. A girl child out there is your child. I don't care if they tell you you're not my mother. I don't care if they tell you go away. If you see anything that looks weird, it is weird. Disrupt it anyhow you know. If it means acting like a crazy woman and taking your wig off just to distract whatever was about to happen, do whatever it takes. But we need to keep our girls safe. This is just so, like, tonight, I'm just a mess. Sirota says, and all of this can cause a spiritual generational curse. Yes. Yes, our mothers don't protect us. And for some of us, we are the mothers who need to do the protecting now. What happened with Lesejo? Chipo? Who's Lesejo and what happened? Can you share?
Yeah, I think mostly those in South Africa probably will know. I think she's a girl that used to make videos on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
I think she was kidnapped. I'm not trying to go into it, but yeah, the whole situation is really, really. It's even for me to say this, because it's very difficult to go into it, because with this person, when you come to look at people, even on this TikTok thing, you just look at people, and they've got this essence they carry, this energy they carry. And this person, I don't know how old she was, but I think she was kidnapped. Probably we don't know if she's alive anymore till now,
Man.
because I think it was still October last year when her mother had to send money to some guy who kidnapped her. Mostly, as people will know, she's probably not alive, but that whole situation is scary, and it is sad at the same time, because with what you said is something that for myself, understand and I see, because I've got sisters. I grew up with women around me. It's something I've always been around. And when you understand that the reason I've said that women, you don't protect each other, I'm going back to it for a reason. Because you throw each other under the bus. When it comes to time, you need to see. You know, one thing is men, those who are men who that do good, you sit down and hold someone accountable. Most women, they don't do that as men do, to hold each other accountable. When it comes to being in a relationship with a guy, if somebody that is bad, you need to say, listen, my friend, you've got to leave this person. But most of them, they don't do that. When it comes to a relationship, there's nothing you will gain by trying to have the upper hand. There's nothing you will gain. I'm going to be simply as honest, because the way that we've been taught when it comes to a relationship is a lie. The way that we've been told that a relationship needs to be submissive, or when somebody tells you that a woman needs to be submissive, is a lie. I had to learn that the hard way. It's a lie, because why do I need somebody to be submissive to me to tell? No, be yourself, and I'm happy with that. So it's in a way to control someone how they must act, how you should carry yourself. No, because how you carry yourself naturally will align you with the right person. And even when it comes to women going outside at night time, the problem that most of them make is this. When it comes for you to go to a club, why do you expect someone to buy drinks for you? This is, I will always say this. Do not, because men will tell you there's nothing for free. And I'm going to be as honest as possible. There is nothing for free. I'm going to be honest as a man myself. There's nothing for free. Meaning that even myself as a guy, I understand I don't want somebody else to owe me a debt, or to do me a certain favor. They expect something in return. That is the harsh truth, but I'm going to have to be honest. So when you go to a club and you go to somebody to buy you a drink, what do you think they want in return?
It's obvious.
So nothing is for free. And this is what I've been trying to say, that you're gonna have to learn that. I've always said this, the whole system is only gonna crash until you've understood that stand up as one. Because why? Me myself understanding that is, this doesn't come to Abantu Badala when it comes to our ancestors. It comes to these Caucasians, and it comes to these Arabs, the system they've created for us, and our men have carried. Meaning that when you yourself as a man, you carry yourself in a situation of, okay, when I'm going to approach a woman, I need to have certain ABC. I need to approach her with money, or if she do certain things, I need to move like this. No, because a woman that's going to love you don't love you based on money, and this is something I had to learn. And the problem we have now is this: when you approach our women, they go to the one that's got money, but will disrespect them. And for me, I'm always harsh on this. Those who know me, if you don't respect yourself, a man is not going to respect you. Meaning
Finish.
that, yes, if you expect a man to spend money on you, no. Because a man that wants to gain you with money is a man you must run away from. Because we're going to have to be honest, especially the older men, you're going to have to run away from them.
They're the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm on a mission with them. Like I'm not. I'm on a mission. Like spiritually, we are
Mm-hmm.
like this cat and dog, because they are the ones who are harnessing young women's life force so that they can live longer. They
Yep.
are the ones who are harnessing young women's life force so that they can enhance their wealth. They're the ones who are able to throw 200K at a young woman, knowing full well that what he gets from her is going to be, I don't know, 1 billion. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We need that spiritual consciousness that allows us to understand who we are and allows us to understand what a treasure we are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be we wouldn't be trafficked the way they're trafficking us. Many of y'all think that we're being trafficked because for prostitution. No, there's a spiritual trafficking of women that is happening, and it's on the increase and it's on the rise. I had a horrible dream about it, and it's going to get worse. Like people are going to be trying to. You are walking with your little girl at the mall. Someone is going to walk by and try to snatch your child. This idea that kids out there on the streets, they play, oh, where are the kids? Oh, they're out on the street playing. That's going to have to come to an end because there will be cars driving by, swooping young babies up and taking them. It's going to get worse. That's probably why I felt so desperate tonight that I needed to come on, because I was like, yo, 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 yo. It's a lot. It's a bigger topic than what brought me with this. But I think it's very important. Somebody says, let's educate our kids more. We have to. And I see people are like, you know what? There's abuse going on in the home first, and then this. Guys, we are hurt. We are wounded people. But right now, what I'm talking about is you losing your children spiritually and never seeing them again.
You know one thing, Gogo, that I wanted to add on that topic is this. When it comes to that education, what my mom has always taught me since I was young, be careful of anyone of any gender. Because the reason I'm going to say this is because, you see, as a guy, the way I think already, I know already to be mindful. It's crazy because I'm mindful of any man, and this, for me to say this, is crazy. The reason I'm saying this is because I know already as a guy, okay, if a woman approach, I think ahead. If it's a woman that's gonna approach me, I know I've got the strength and the power to overcome. But if it's a guy, I know already that no, I don't have the capacity. Meaning, the reason I'm saying this is because what my mom has taught me, if it's because you see, most certain women that will be used to approach to a child.
Yes,
Because
that's
they don't.
exactly what they're doing. It's not some horrible, scary looking monster that's coming for you. It's going to be the sweetest person who might even look like someone you might want to make your new auntie because she looks so fly, she looks so hip, and that's how they do. And then they'll groom you with time until you trust them. And most times it's so easy to trust women. And there we go. So you are correct, Chipo, when you say it's not about, it's about teaching our kids to be conscious and awake and be aware of their surroundings and to be safe. The unfortunate part is that we now need, it's like their childhood is taken, but then their childhood is already taken from them by this system in the first place, right? Unless you grew up in the rural areas somewhere, if you grew up in a township somewhere, you know that your childhood was already taken from you. There are a lot of young people, boys and girls, who by the time they were 12, 13, they'd already been molested. You understand? So when we talk about this, we cannot, we have to be pragmatic because now it's a matter of life and death. Thokoza Nkanyezi, thank you, Stando-sami, thank you. Now it's a matter of life and death. It's toxicity all the way, and there's a desperation to the moves that are being pulled now, because like I said, the power is returning to those to whom it belongs. This power was usurped. It was never theirs to begin with. She's back and she's saying, I'm taking back what belongs to me and my daughters. Inkomo yabo, inkomo yabo. That is why that private place is called inkomo. And the symbol for heteru, nomkubulwane, nomhoy is the cow. Inkomo. So she's like, inkomo yabo, inkomo yabo. And I'm here to enforce. That's why I said there's going to be a lot of unalivings, but there are going to be casualties on both sides. I just hurt because I see a trend, and the trend is that women are still very distracted.
Yeah.
Women are still very in the physical and material. They're squarely in their root chakra. And to be in your root chakra right now is to be in hell. because it's from your heart chakra upwards that heaven starts. As long as you're here, going down is hellish, because this is where they've got us trapped. This is where the system has us trapped in fear, in anxiety, in lack, in the physical. We're distracted by alcohol, we're distracted by drugs, we're distracted by sex, we're distracted. And this is where they want to keep us trapped, right there in that distraction. The minute you start to shift and move to the heart space and on upwards, you become a danger. That's why they've put the distractions. You guys think that Twitter allowing all these PORN is just because freedom? No. As for that demon, that one, Helon, X, he did that on purpose. You guys don't get it. Everything that they are doing is intentional. One thing they do know about Bagwantu men are two things. And I was told by a white person and I got so livid. But why? Because the truth stung. You know what he said? Bagwantu men have the highest levels of testosterone and they could achieve way more using that testosterone. Their problem is lack of self-discipline and impulse control. Lack of self-discipline and impulse control. So on Twitter, all this now is trending. Now they've put a nice, what do you call this? Like a nice gallery of all these women whose stuff has been out there with their pictures next, guys, with the pictures of their things right next to their face. A nice gallery. No one can report to X because X is like, this is exactly where I want you all. Right? This is exactly where you want, this is where I want you all. How many men are spending hours per day on X? Why? Because they get distracted. They get sucked into the PORN. Today, there's some people who were not productive at work because this whole drama started in the morning. I woke up to it. South Africa time, it was already on a roll. So all day, and remember, he posted 1:35. So all day, people have been busy checking to see if number two out of 35 has been added. In the meantime, they're all saying, oh, so who's Nkomo looks better, Cyan, Bougie, or Gcinile? Gcinile ubhobokile. Like derogatory things. They're posting memes where it's like, guys, no man, ngeke. Today I'm hurted. Today I'm hurt, guys. Like, it's a desecration of the divine feminine. And we've seen this desecration century after century after century. And this is where the buck stops, because now we're going to see heads roll, literally. Because I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, there's content here that can open your mind. There's content here that can help us as Bagwantu, as a community. We need to come together to fix our house. How do we call you our protectors when you do this? That's why I've said, don't ever come to me and talk to me about a male being my protector, because if we are needing protection, it's protection from whom? Them. But you see, they come and they're like piranhas to blood in water, the way they are around this particular issue. You know, when a post is shared, 65K shares. The failure to view in Lovgazi as Uma, even if it's a little girl. Ngoba uphethe inkomo lo muntu. She's a representative of divine goddess herself. She's a manifestation of divine goddess, because only she can do what divine goddess does. The failure To understand that is where this is at. And many who are stuck in their ego will hear it here and say, Mbedo. Nonsense. I was once accused by somebody here who's like from KwaZulu, who said to me, you are busy leading our women astray with this. You are leading our women astray with this, your talk. Khuluma umbhedo nje wena. Khuluma amasimba. Indoda. Why? Because I speak a language and a message for women to come back. See, if we don't get back to who we are, you know what? Just accept then that this current world, the way it is with its 3D hellishness, is going to stay like this. Because indlovukazi zakwantu are the ones who are tasked with lifting us out of all this. So my desperation and my pain is when I see how distracted we are. How distracted we are. We are so far off course from focusing on what we need to focus on, which is our inner healing, which is our coming into circle, as I call it. Coming into circle. So that we can focus and intentionally together, collectively manifest the things we want. We are the master magician, but we're not manifesting anything because busy. Inkomo zethu, hey man, yo, ayingeke. Inkomo zethu, they are all over the place during the people, all over. So manifesta ini kanjani? How? How are we going to manifest anything when we're still busy? We are stuck in the root chakra. So-and-so is driving a Mercedes. Me, I want a Bugatti. So-and-so is wearing Louis Vuitton. Okay, today, who does she think she is? I'm going to find me a man who's going to dress me the same way. Oh, you know what? Better still, I'm going to take the one she has. You know, they even have stupid slogans like this. Indoda belongs to Jesus until he marries you. It doesn't belong to anyone. It belongs to Jesus until he marries you. I'm like, yabona ubudom. Hey, Nkosi yami. Ish. Yes, sunshine, you know it. Sunshine, you know it. We've been talking about this for the longest. You know it, Manana. You know it. It's just that and that's why I know, for example, that I exist in a different plane from everybody else, because every time I get dragged down into this, it really weighs me down. And that's why I'm always like, I really exist on a different plane. Like, where I exist, that's why I get shocked by things like this. Because I'm not in this frequency. I am not in this 3D frequency. So it's very difficult for me. But then I'm tasked with hand out and pulling up. But you can't pull up people who don't want to be pulled up. I'd rather sit where I'm sitting there, where I just get blissed out and I'm like, ooh, it's wonderful. But that's not what I'm here for. You know? So anyway, guys, here's what I would say. I definitely would not encourage anyone to watch those videos. Watch at your own risk. If you're easily traumatized like me, if you're a spiritual person, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you to watch that, and it's going to affect you to see the comments because you're porous. Anyone else, hey, it's a free world. I mean, I saw it. I didn't mean to. It just happened to be there. And I was just like, and then I dashed to the comments because, wow, this thing had gone wild. And I'm just like, and then now this evening, they've put the gallery. Imagine amadoda amadala. We're not talking small boys. We're talking men taking your time to get all these. Mind you, I guess they might have folders on their phone for all of these things. And then to make a collage and to put it out there without a single thought to the pain that you're causing to this woman and those who are around her. Don't care. Don't think about it. And you expect that it's going to be well with you. Right? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you for showing up. This was just a spontaneous impromptu. I had to come in. Like I said, I needed therapy. So anyone, any last words? I've got just my two guests who wanted to talk. Siyabonga nana Nkanyezi Zulu. Thank you, Stando Sam. I love you. Anyone, Chipo, Ubuntu, want to say some final words before we close? Yo.
I'll go first and I'll let Chipo end. Nkanyezi, thank you so much. Thank you. I think it's painful and I'm also slightly speechless because the reality is that there's very few spaces where we're actually safe in this world as Lovkas. Very few spaces and places where we are safe. And it saddens my heart that it's actually our men, our black men that are doing this. And it may not just be the black man, it could be other races as well that are putting up these pictures or whatever. I also in the spirit of support, I wish that we can begin to warn each other about such individuals. Just be like, hey, that what over there to the east, don't do that. You want to watch out for that person. So people are understanding, but at the same time, there's so much there's so much education that needs to happen, because this whole submission story, I think it's put us in such unsafe spaces.
Yeah.
And so we need to really deconstruct from that mindset of submission. We really need to deconstruct, like deeply deconstruct from it.
Goddess, Ndlovukazi, you say something really, maybe this is something I could follow up with so that we do start maybe just holding these kind of spaces where, we talk about the roots of submission. Because I think a lot of people really don't realize, because you hear people say in the vernacular, like, mina imikhanda lomuzi, like as if I'm the head. They don't even realize they're quoting from that evil manual. Do you see what I mean? So a lot of things that we say are cultural are not cultural, they're colonial. And so maybe we can have a series where we talk, what is this submission and why did it come? Many people look at even say the wedding ring. A lot of people don't know the roots of the wedding ring, that before it became a ring you put on your finger, it used to be a big old thingy that your husband, who had forced you to marry him, put on your wrist and then bound himself to you so you wouldn't run away. How many people know that?
What?
See? Those are the colonial roots of the ring.
We're in trouble.
Because marriage was forced. There was all this courtship and wooing nonsense and romance that came out of Rome. Rubbish. They were never doing that. These creatures were brutal. They see you on the street, they want you, they come and take you. And so I'm marrying you. We're married now. Put that thing on you. Like literally put you so that until you submitted, until you acquiesced, until you gave in, until your prefrontal cortex was destroyed by trauma and torture, now you could just obey and submit and follow. Then that thing would get taken off of you. I got the whole good. If you guys want us to do this, we can do it. I can do it with the history quotation. I've got it all. The evil of these people is what people don't understand. And then we look at how we've turned out and we wonder how we are the way we are. Why do you think we have 90% of Christians in the church? Think about it. following in nonsense, just following nonsense. Prefrontal cortex was destroyed. This is where your cognition, this is where your ability to critically think, this is where your ability to discern and your ability to make up your own mind. It's here in the prefrontal cortex, destroyed by torture, by putting you in a hole in the ground until it's destroyed. Trauma. Then when you come out, they say, do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? What are you going to say? I do. Yes. They say turn left. You turn left. Done. So when I hear people talk about Christianity of their ancestors as if it's something those ancestors chose, I get very upset because I know the truth. So I'm happy to bring knowledge and for us to share. Nkanyezi, before you go, where's she? Hello, Nanas.
I'm still here.
Thokoza,
Thokozani ninjani.
Siyaphila. How are you, love?
Nyaphila, nyaphila. I can say that now, with my chest.
Yes.
But I also want to say that it does it, and I was gonna say the cerebellum. I hope I'm saying it properly.
The
The
cerebellum.
cerebellum. Yeah, the back of the brain too. I always used to say this, that even the back of the brain that destroys the balance in which you are able to understand duality, and understanding that certain things that are the reason why I'm actually saying it because of what you were saying about, like, a lot of our cultures still consist of a lot of colonial perspectives and concepts and stuff, and we don't know this because we don't understand balance anymore. Because when they destroy the prefrontal cortex, they don't understand, or we didn't understand, that at the same time the cerebellum back of the brain is also destroyed at the same time, which makes the balance of even understanding duality inconsistent and destructive in general, which is why people tend to think that their bodies are allowed to be a playground for nonsense, instead of understanding that you're supposed to be protecting it too, that the physical does not always mean that it must not be protected just because it's in the physical, but it actually is also a very spiritual part of your journey in consciousness.
No, because
And
it's
I
an
was just,
extension of your soul. It's just a denser, more
yes.
gross form of your soul. Your soul is ether, right? And then as it descends, it becomes more dense and more gross, and therefore you take on the shape. That is why we always say everything that you are, your physical features, everything is really a reflection of your soul. Because all this is the outward projection of your soul. You cannot disconnect your body and your soul, because once you do that, well, then your soul goes and your body dies. That's how that happens.
It's also like someone asked me the other day, like, but do we ever really die? And I was like, no, we don't. And
No,
we
we
know it.
don't.
Everyone knows that we don't really die. Because you know that when you die, you know that your soul is still going to exist. But how do you know that? Because the inner part of your brain understands that you exist bigger than this specific realm then you're in. And so all these religions and all these concepts are the ones that are destructing the prefrontal as well as the cerebellum to cause a malfunction in the entire human being, which is a walking what did you just say, manifestation of the divine feminine energy. You know what I mean? So I think it's another reason why I had to, like, completely pull back even from communicating about it, because I was starting to realize certain things about myself that I was not able to understand why people were not getting what I was thinking, but I could not actually say it with my mouth, because the language of the soul is not necessarily the language we speak. It's so much bigger than that. And I was going to also add, just before you go, that I heard you say to Chipo also about the grooming, and I wanted to also say that that's part of what my biggest issue also about women is that I'm also afraid of women. As much as I'm afraid of men, I've also got this fear of women, because I also feel like there are women who are using the power of the divine feminine in ways to disrupt us in a way, or kind of take advantage, and it's also because they're not in alignment. You already explained exactly what is going on with them, and I'm thinking a lot of us need to start paying attention to the fact that really the protection should be to the children, because they are innocent. You know, they don't deserve what is going on. But a lot of people who have grown within this society and within this destruction, they are kind of going with the flow, and it's so disruptive because we don't know what happens when we transition. It could be bad, it could be good, we don't know, you know. But a lot of us live within these different realms, and we see certain things, and we cannot communicate with people who just don't understand the language of the soul, which is, you know, universal and more of the manifestation. And I
Totally.
think that I would really love for us to have that kind of, like you said, I think we should have that kind of, either it be a seminar or something where we can actually attack that specific situation,
It's
you know?
important. It's
Yes.
important, and it's due. Today I got such a fright with what I saw on the internet. I was like, "Yabona manje." No, 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 no. It's awful. So definitely, well, let's talk about it, and
Yeah.
let's make it happen. I'm here.
Yeah.
It's time. We've got to make
Yeah.
this happen. Okay, Nana, let
Yeah.
me give Chipo because I have to go. The girl upstairs is going boom, boom, boom. She's got
All
school
right. Thank you,
tomorrow.
Mama. Love you.
Love you too, my baby. Thank you, Chipo.
For me, I don't have much to say, but I agree with what Unkanyezi said anyway. And I think for me, the way, because last year for me was a year for me to learn and to understand when it comes to spirituality, is that you're not going to be bounded by what you think physically. Spirituality doesn't have rules like the physical. You're going to have to learn the laws of the spirit, meaning that things that are going to happen, you're going to have to understand the rules and the laws of the spirit. You're not going to be able to negotiate as you do in the physical. And the biggest thing for me was to learn to balance myself. And I think this is one thing I've said to you before, that my purpose and the way I stand is between both Indlovukazi and Indoda. I'm between both. So that's why for me I've experienced both. I'm very quiet because why? I'm a person, when I experience even just meditating, for example, made me to understand that I'm very cautious of both the man and the woman. And the reason for that is because this time, especially the times I'm in, I'm cautious of both. Why? Because both, mostly both, and there's certain people especially that are out there to destroy. And
Yeah.
I want, and this is why I always say that sometimes I want in love. This is what I always go back to. I always go back to in love because I always hold those around me know I hold them accountable, because most of them, the people around you, when you think of Kazi, start there, because no man is gonna have the power over you when you yourself stand as one. That's where I stand. You're
Togoza
no.
Mkhulu. And it's facts. Not that that's where you stand, it's facts. The thing
Mhm.
is, some of us have been around long enough to see glimpses of what that unity can achieve. I've been around long enough in the activism space to see, even in places where it seems like these women they're never going to make it out of here. They found a way. There's a group of women called the Gulabi Gang from India.
Mhm.
It came a point where and now it's become a movement across the whole of rural India. It became a time where, like, really the violence against women got vicious, and these women wear pink saris and they carry indugu sticks,
Mm.
and when they hear that within their village or community, me, I'm almost done, I'm hanging up now. Hi guys, did this interrupt? Can you hear me, Chipo?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear
Okay
you.
guys, I'm gonna have to say good night, and we'll
Okay.
continue
Toko's about Gogo. We'll let you go.
later. Guys,
Mm.
bye, good night.
Good night, Gogo Toko's.